Hello and welcome to the Long Range Analyst. I'm AnalystWxCast forecaster Andrew Fleck for the date of July 7th through the 14th, 2011. And what we're going to talk about today is the oppressive heat over the southern tier of the United States, along with the drought that comes with it. Then we're going to pose the question and answer to if any relief is in store within the next week or two. Later down the video, we will then give some tropical concern areas and send you home packing for the next week. So let's look at the current map for the temperatures within the past month. And you will see, though, in these lighter colors of yellow, orange, and red, that has been where the hottest temperatures have been over the United States, that being Kansas, that being Oklahoma, much of Texas, even portions of Missouri and Arkansas, seeing temperatures perhaps 2+ degrees above. And of course, even over the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast, temperatures 1+ above average for the month. So it has been quite hot for the southern tier of the United States. And normally, in the summer, you would have those normal temperatures being very warm, and you'd have a little precipitation with it. The problem, though, this summer has been the drought, and that being over the south central tier of the United States, along with the southeast, those areas being under 2 inches, some 4 inches, and even 6 inches below precipitational averages for the month. That is not a good thing, and I have witnessed it myself being in Oklahoma a few weeks ago. I was able to see that much of the rivers, much of the creeks are very dry, and even on the plane I was able to look from an aerial view across Missouri, across Arkansas. Conditions, again, even dry over there. So there's much needed rain to be posed throughout those states. And, we can't forget about Florida and the Carolinas as well. They have been running dry, and even some wildfires have been sparking. So that whole southern tier from Texas to the East Coast in need of some rain. Now, how is that going to make out for the current weather pattern that we are in now and what we can expect next week? Well, looking at the overall pattern for the end of this week, we have a high pressure sitting off the Atlantic here. And that's going to pinwheel some moisture out of the Caribbean, a little bit out of the Gulf here, and hopefully bring some showers, and much needed showers for the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and especially Florida here, that occurring over this late week and weekend. But again, a little west of that, the south central United States, not seeing any real pinwheel of moisture, and therefore looks to be and continue to remain dry. Over the eastern Pacific here, we continue to have an abundant amount of moisture, and therefore tropical systems continue to form and move in the direction to the northwest. Now, what can we expect for next week? Well, next week, unfortunately, it's more of the same for the south central United States, and of course the southeast gets drier once again. But when I look at this map, I really want to bring focus to the tropics. Okay, we don't really have that high pressure in the Atlantic pinwheeling moisture anymore. It's more so over here. But we are going to have continuous waves that move through the Atlantic here and into the Caribbean. And what will eventually happen is having an upper level feature in here that's going to make a trough occur over the eastern United States, more of a ridging over the central United States, and of course a lot of these waves are going to hang very deep into the Caribbean and into the Gulf if they make it that far, and that's where all this moisture is going to sit right here. And that is where all those waves are going to travel into. Just like Arlene, that tropical storm that we had about a week ago. It took that distinct track. It was very deep in the Caribbean, very deep south in the Gulf, and that's that track I think is going to continue through June and through early part of July. As our forecast suggested, that would be the track. June and July being more of a steep sinking track for those tropical systems in the Atlantic. And as what I think for the Pacific, and more of an abundant amount of moisture is going to continue developing off Mexico and taking that general track that 2 or 3 of the storms have already taken this year. So last but not least, we're just going to show a little more of what we think for the tropical concerns, and this is for this week And as for next week, we can see that the darker colors are the lower pressures, and that's where the best available energy is for tropical waves and any development into a tropical system. And you can see that's definitely hinting the South Caribbean and into the South Gulf here is where the best, lowest pressures and the best energy is going to be. And that's what the area we're going to have to watch within the next week. And then I'm going to show you guys one more thing here, and I bring this to my attention. It is a bit longer out in the longer range, but you know, why not take a look at it? You can see that, you know, some of these lower pressures start to point even into the Atlantic here. So you kind of wonder, you get a wave in here, if maybe that one could now become more of a posing threat to the more northern Gulf or the southeast coast. That's more out in the longer range, and I don't really like to talk about tropical development that further out. That's within, you know, 2 to 3 weeks, but within, you know, the next week to 2 weeks, you're definitely looking at energy better for the southern Caribbean and into the south and southwest Gulf. So that'll be the concern for the tropics. So as for now, that has been your long-range discussion for July 7th through the 14th. Any questions, feel free to comment, and we will be happy enough to give you that answer. So hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.